right, well, welcome to the 4 to 5. I'm Sydney, Claire, and Tanya. Good afternoon. It's the ladies' afternoon.
That's right. The ladies are holding it down today on Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good to see the both of you.
Happy Thursday to everybody.
Yes, and what a beautiful Thursday to start off with.
I'm excited to talk about the weather. Good news?
Not only today, but for the weekend. Hey,
Yes.
Yep. I'll give that as a tease.
Okay.
That's great. That is a very good tease. Yeah. All right. We're going to begin with an update, though, right now on the gun incident at UNC yesterday. Michael Harris made his first appearance in court today. This is after police say he used a gun to threaten a worker inside the student union on campus.
That threat triggered a campus-wide lockdown that ended when police arrested Harris hours later. He's in jail under a $50,000 bond.
WFMY News 2's Amber Lake has new details that we learned in court.
UNC police say that Michael Harris came here to Alpine Bagel yesterday in order to confront the supervisor after his girlfriend, Harris's girlfriend, had been fired. Now, according to court documents, the supervisor fired Harris's girlfriend over the phone, so she told the supervisor that her boyfriend was on the way to the student union. Documents also show the supervisor told police Harris pointed a gun at him and said, "I'll blow your head off." No shots were fired and no one was hurt. Police say Harris then drove to his apartment. That's where police searched the apartment and Harris's car and found a gun and ammunition. Today in court, prosecutors asked the judge to set a higher bond.
I would hope that you would consider, based upon the danger to the public, the seriousness of the allegations, the escalation in the defendant's dangerous behavior, I would ask that you consider $50,000 of your bond.
The supervisor said that he did not know Harris prior to this incident. Harris is being charged with bringing a gun onto educational property, assault by pointing a gun, and communicating threats. Now, previously, earlier this month, he was wanted for another assault charge unrelated to this. Live in Chapel Hill, Amber Lake, WFMY News 2.
Amber, thank you. As we've reported, this was the second incident at UNC Chapel Hill involving an armed and dangerous person on campus in the last 16 days. In the first incident, a professor was shot and killed, and in yesterday's disturbance, thankfully no one was hurt. What happened at UNC is unnerving, and these types of situations can bring out a variety of responses. This is what Blanca Cobb, who has a master's degree in psychology, and I are talking about this afternoon. Blanca, let's get right into it. What's the emotional impact on students and parents when it comes to incidents like this?
There is a range of emotions and a range of reactions when scary situations happen. We just have to be careful with coping that is on the extreme ends that can impact quality of life. For example, hypervigilance and desensitization.
And how do you guard against desensitization?
Desensitization is this non-reactive thinking that nothing's going to change anyway. This continues to happen across the country on different campuses and different places. Nothing's going to be done. So people think there's really nothing I can do, so they don't do anything to take precautions. However, instinctively in a crisis situation, your body does respond with the fight or flight.
And I'm sorry, and you mentioned hypervigilance as well too. What can you do about that?
Hypervigilance, this is where you're constantly worried, you're second guessing, should I leave, should I not, what's going to happen, what if I don't go, what if I stay home? And it's this overwhelming feeling of not being safe and always being cautious. And what happens is there's no quality of life of this way because you're worried. Some people have anxiety, some people have panic, some people just want to stay home because they feel sheltered and safer. However, this, again, it's not this quality of life. So what needs to happen is that you have to think about what you can control and what you can't control. Maybe there's certain routes that you take that make you feel safer, certain places that you go that make you feel safer. And then also you need to have going back to routine. And the more you're going back to your routine, the more confidence you're going to have because the longer you're going to see that things are going to be okay. So it is great to be aware. Everyone should be aware. There's a difference when you're constantly fretting and you're looking around, just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Blanca, thank you so much. You can continue the conversation with Blanca on her Facebook page, Blanca Cobb, body language expert.
Well, UNC Chapel Hill leaders have extended their CAPS services, and that stands for Counseling and Psychological Services. 2 of the university's CAPS locations are currently open for walk-in support, so students can also get help by just simply calling CAPS, the 24/7 hotline. The number is on your screen. You want to take a screenshot of that if there's somebody that you need to send it to.
Certainly feeling the difference in humidity out there. Much drier, all thanks to this cold front that is sweeping offshore as we speak. Beautiful conditions across the Triad. Here's a live look in Greensboro, where temperatures are sitting in the upper 70s, dew points middle 50s, so not too bad, especially for this time of year. Feeling a little bit more fall-like, with temperatures right now lingering in the upper 70s and lower 80s across the area. Dew points, again, not very sticky, upper 50s and lower 60s. Still could be better, though, and that is yet to come. Next 12 hours, we're watching temperatures drop back into the 60s, eventually into the cool 50s. Some of you might even want to grab the hoodie in the morning. I know I certainly will. Clear and cool overnight without those clouds re-emitting heat back down to the surface. And going to get pretty chilly in the middle 50s. Now heading into tomorrow for your Friday, back in the middle and upper 70s. And a gorgeous weekend is on the way. Crisp morning for Saturday, plenty of sunshine as we head into the afternoon, upper 70s and lower 80s. Overnight lows in the upper 50s and lower 60s. A little bit more humid into Sunday. Scattered shower and thunderstorm odds are also returning into Sunday as well. Upcoming in just a little bit, I've got the latest on the tropics and what all you can expect in your full 7-day forecast.
Claire, thank you. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has been indicted on 3 federal firearm charges. The indictment accuses Hunter Biden of lying about his drug usage while purchasing a firearm back in 2018. The firearm charge was a part of an earlier plea deal in the works with federal prosecutors, but that deal collapsed. This indictment comes as U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy directed the House to launch an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden, alleging the president may have been involved in Hunter's business dealings.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup on this Thursday. A Winston-Salem man who was hit by a car is now facing murder charges. All of this stems from a stabbing call last week. Police say officers responded to Moses Lucas Court last Friday for a pedestrian hit by a vehicle. Investigators found 2 men in a car with stab wounds, and one of those men, Ryan Rousseau, was taken to the hospital. The other died at the scene. Investigators now say Rousseau is the suspect in the stabbing, and he's charged with felony murder. He's now being held on no bond at a secure facility while he recovers from being hit by the car.
The Winston Cup Museum is back open after temporarily closing earlier this summer. The popular attraction shut down in July because of a lawsuit filed by ITG Brands. The company claims it owns all the copyrights to the Winston Cup images. The lawsuit claims the museum filed for trademark rights and wants to profit off the logo. An injunction was filed last month allowing the museum to reopen on the 1st. Right now, both sides are participating in mediation hearings to find a resolution.
Mrs. Winters on Summit Avenue is preparing to close. The Piedmont Restaurant Group, which runs the location, has been systematically closing underperforming franchises. So one location on Randleman Road closed about 3 weeks ago, while the restaurant on Summit Avenue is set to close tomorrow. The company is using the capital to open franchises of Chicken Salad Chick. That's an Alabama-based chain known for a dozen different chicken salads. We've reached out to the group for a timeline for when the new restaurant will be opening. plenty of good advice on the internet. There's also plenty of really bad advice. Luckily, we have our verified team to help determine what's what. Abby Larico breaks down a message to anyone with potted plants around their home.
Take a look at this photo, described as the aftermath of a potted plant spontaneously combusting, leading to all this damage. Now, this post has been shared about 30,000 times, and the same warnings appearing in other posts across the internet as well. So can potted plants start a fire? We turn to the sources here to verify, in some instances, yes. We used Google Lens to find the photo appears to have originally been posted August 26th on the Facebook page for Russell Springs, Kentucky Fire and Rescue, saying the fire started in a tomato plant. This past spring, the Fairgrove, Missouri Fire Protection District shared these photos after stomping out a smoldering planter pot burning from the bottom up. And about a year ago, Loudoun County, Virginia's Fire and Rescue fought a barn fire they say started with the spontaneous combustion of a flower box. So how can this happen? The departments all say it's because potting soil is much more than dirt, and when the combination of shredded woods, moss, mulch, and styrofoam breaks down to compost, it can generate enough heat to self-ignite. It is rare, but much likelier in hot, sunny, dry conditions. Our firefighting sources share these tips to avoid becoming that rare case. Water potted plants regularly. Use clay pots when possible because they're better at containing fires. Do not use potting soil labeled for indoor use outside. That's because it can dry out faster. And dispose of any unused or old potting soil at the end of the season. Also remember, do not use a potted plant to try to extinguish flames like from a cigarette. You could wind up with an even smokier situation. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Who has ever used a plant to extinguish a flame? Anyone out there? If you have done it, I want to hear your story.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
That is crazy.
I don't really, plant flowers or anything of that nature, so I've never really heard of something like this, but
neither.
Interesting.
Okay, listen.
Oh, you
I had a
have?
potted plant. It was a cactus.
Did it catch on fire?
No.
Okay.
But I actually overwatered it.
Oh, yeah.
So it died, and that was
Right.
my first clue to not
gosh.
have a potted plant. But now this is my second. I feel like that's a sign.
Just
maybe.
don't even do it. Like, just get the ones that aren't real.
Right?
Right? You dust
And
them off.
move
They're
on.
fine.
Artificial
They're fine.
You've
plants.
said this to me before, Tanya.
I mean,
I actually have one at my desk. I actually do.
Is it alive?
I complimented
Oh, it's
that,
not
yeah.
real at all.
Oh,
but
okay.
it might not look
If
real
you
either.
squint,
But
if
there's
you squint
From far away.
just one eye,
Yeah.
But this is interesting advice, definitely. So
Yeah,
for all
that's
the
great.
I think
plant
of all the
lovers.
potted plants that I have some kind of half potted plants stuck in my garage with all of this stuff. And I'm like, so could it just self-combust in my garage?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'll stick to artificial.
Okay.
Retweet.
I still want to know if
Tell
you've
us.
ever put out a fire with a potted plant.
We'll be back with a look at weather.
As promised, a update on Hurricane Lee, which still does maintain Category 1 strength with winds around 85 miles per hour, but due to upper level shear and also dry air kind of being funneled into this hurricane, it is starting to weaken as it continues to push northward here for the next several days with multiple tropical storm, even a hurricane warning in effect for portions of Maine. A little bit closer look, more so into Saturday and into Sunday when that is expected to make landfall. Now, as for us along the coast, perhaps you're taking this weekend, going to be absolutely beautiful also back in the 80s, especially along the coast. You're heading out to the beach. Rip currents are going to be high, so watch out for those red flags. Heavy surf continues also into this weekend, so keep that in mind with water temperatures also still pretty warm, sitting in the middle 80s. So look at the futurecast as that front pushes offshore. High pressure builds into the area for us here locally, heading throughout the day on Friday. Middle upper 70s, absolutely gorgeous for Friday, and also into Saturday with high pressures sticking around. We're back in the lower 80s for Saturday afternoon. Slim shower chances also continue throughout Friday into Saturday, even into Sunday for the most part, but isolated shower chances will be returning for Sunday as we start to see another upper level disturbance funnel in moisture throughout the day. So that's our next best chance of showers between the 2 weekend days. You're definitely going to want to get out on Saturday. Upper 70s and lower 80s continue in your forecast heading into next week. Lots of pleasant, pretty nice conditions. Overnight lows also sitting in the upper 50s and lower 60s, continuing heading into next week.
A grim anniversary for the state of North Carolina. It was on this day 5 years ago, Hurricane Florence wrecked the North Carolina coast. Florence hit Wrightsville Beach as a Category 1 hurricane, bringing record rainfall as it sat on the coast for 2 very long days. The rain led to devastating floods along several rivers, destroying roads, damaging thousands of homes and businesses. Over 5,000 people had to be rescued. The state of North Carolina reported 42 fatalities due to the hurricane and preliminary damage estimates of $16.7 billion. Nearly 140,000 North Carolinians registered for disaster assistance after that storm.
I mean, watching the roof of that gas station just fly off and tumble over like that, and then not to mention all of the water out there as well too. Not surprised that all that money was invested in that. I mean, it's just
devastating. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know how low-lying Wilmington and Wrightsville Beach.
Absolutely.
My friend lives in that area, and she could not get out of her neighborhood for like 4 days because the water had come up around the house. Thankfully, didn't get in her house, but had come around the house. I mean, you couldn't just drive out.
Well, there is a positive. It was a Cat 5 as it was approaching the coast, and it did weaken a bit all the way to a Cat 1.
Thank
so
goodness.
So that is the good news, although obviously there were lots and lots of damages.
Yeah, I'm sure I wasn't here in North Carolina when this happened, but I'm sure it took multiple crews from neighboring areas to come out and assist when things like this obviously happen as well too, Tanya.
And we had people from all over coming here to help out because it was just such a huge storm. I'm curious, as like, you know, it's just a Category 1, just right? But when it sits there for 2 days and just rains.
Absolutely. If it's slow moving like that, it can have impacts that are just obviously way more intense. You know, like it did. It was just very slow moving, able to cause that flooding, etc. I was actually in Raleigh when all of this was happening. I was still at NC State and got to kind of see it firsthand there, but not so much along the coast. So.
What a crazy case study for you to be looking at as you're trying to get your degree. Okay,
Right.
We're going to be taking a quick break. We'll be back. A new show coming to CBS, and it's tonight. The new series Buddy Games is set to premiere at 9 o'clock.
The show features 6 teams of lifelong friends who embark on a nostalgic summer camp adventure. So they'll bunk together and compete in absurd mental and physical challenges for the chance to take home the Buddy Games trophy and, of course, Tanya, a cash prize.
Right, so the host and the creator, Josh Duhamel, has your behind-the-scenes look.
You have no idea how excited I am to see these pretty faces.
We are at Camp Buddy Games. This feels like an adult summer camp.
Go on the sound of my bugle, all right? Good luck.
Buddy Games came about 20 years ago with a group of my friends who wanted an excuse to get back together. And we always dreamt about having a show based on that because we knew other people around the country did versions of this. We wanted to sort of share what we do and allow people to let that kid out. How often in life do you get a chance to go play, be with your friends, and compete against a bunch of other friends? And that's exactly what this place is for.
I can't ask them to do anything that I wouldn't do myself, right?
We're used to competing sometimes against each other, but now we're competing all together to go crush other people.
We have 6 teams of 4. Every episode there will be one big game, and the team that loses has to send one of their contestants home.
You're gonna be facing off in Losers Last Stand.
What we looked for was people that have certain qualities in these friendships, and they had to be deep-rooted old friendships, that thing that makes them real friends.
They stuck with me through my worst times. And they still do.
Coming into the Buddy Games, we don't have a plan. There's no set leader. That's what the cool thing is about this group is we all bring our own skill set.
It is very competitive. Some of the competitions that we have are crazy.
Yeah, buddy!
It's also an opportunity for a lot of these people to rekindle old friendships and sort of relive their youth.
We're all pretty much the entire group around 30 years. I think we're trying to hang on to our glory days. Possibly end of the road, hopefully not, last hurrah, but we're still going. We're still ready. We're amped up for this.
Let's go!
The big cash prize at the end of this thing is $200,000. So they are definitely incentivized to do well.
These are all like my brothers, and we are forever friends.
We are gonna help us win some money.
Let's go get us!
We met through Derby and we've been friends ever since.
We are rough around the edges.
Yeah, anyone who underestimates us is automatically making a huge mistake.
I think that we'll be more prepared than anybody else, which is going to help us win this whole thing.
People are going to watch this and they're going to be reminded of their friends. This is real and it's playing out right in front of you, and it's hilarious.
Right, how about a
That
Miss
is
2
fun.
team?
I know,
Yeah,
right?
for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
I love game shows. There's nothing that I get invested in more. I don't have to know anything about the show ever in my life. I'll stumble upon it and I get so invested in them.
That's me.
I don't know about this show.
No?
No, I don't know, but I love the concept of it with the close friends. The guy had even said one of them, they stuck with me through my most toughest times. You saw the pageant queen girls as well too.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it.
No, I do, but I'm also super competitive. So this could also be great for me because it's just ridiculous things that I don't think anybody could really be great at unless they
No, because they're
practice.
weird like summer camp games.
Yeah,
Right,
it's like summer
I know
camp.
you're right, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about the show, Tanya?
I like the whole premise of it. I like that they're there to have fun, and it's a little bit kind of like Amazing Racious and Survivor-ish, and you know, all those things
I can
like
see
all
the
together.
Survivor aspect.
I was
too.
thinking Wipeout. You know, I still think I can
Wipeout.
get.
I remember Wipeout.
Yeah, I still think I can get across the big red balls. I still do.
You never know.
You never
You
know.
think so?
Oh yeah.
She should
I'm
do
like,
it.
I know I'd fall while looking at it.
Well, watch tonight, 9 o'clock. It premieres. Good stuff.
We'll see you at 4:30. Well, welcome to your 4 to 5. The time now is 4:30. I'm Sydney alongside Claire and Tanya. Good afternoon to the both of you today.
Good afternoon.
Thursday, that feels like fall Thursday.
I know.
Yeah. Just for the ladies, am I right?
You got some good news coming up in the forecast?
I actually really do.
Okay.
And I mean, today is kind of a hint at that. So, hey, upper 70s, lower 80s, that's not too bad, right?
It's definitely
that
giving
feels really
fall
good.
vibes.
Yeah,
for sure.
50s in the mornings,
Yeah,
right? Pretty crisp.
that's some good walking weather.
Yeah. Hoodie weather for me. I get a little
sure.
chilly. I don't know.
Get that
Find my
pumpkin
hoodies.
spice latte with those kind of temperatures. Come on.
Now you're talking. All right. Well, community leaders and members gathered today for a day of celebration. Today marks the second year of success for the Stephen Tanger Center. The center has brought home more than $250 million people, to the area and hosted 251 shows last season.
Famous Broadway shows included Cats, The Book of Mormon, also Hamilton, right?
Hamilton.
Right? Famous artists ranging from country music star Vince Gill to R&B greats like Smokey Robinson. Mayor Nancy Vaughn commended leaders for yet another successful year and shared her thoughts on the next season to come.
I am so excited about the third season. There's not a show on it I don't want to see, and all of the other acts that go on throughout the year are just fabulous. So I want to thank all of you for your support, and everybody who has supported this theater. It is what we thought it would be.
The next season kicks off next week with shows including Chicago, the musical, Disney's Aladdin, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Right, and you can get those tickets now on the Tanger Center's website. And let me just say, make sure you go to the Tanger Center website. There are other ticket websites that will sell you a ticket. That is not the Tanger website. And so therefore, if you get a ticket and it's like cheaper and you're like, oh, but I got it off this thing, you know, it may not really be a ticket and it may not be honored. So
I'm so sad because I missed a lot of shows that I wanted to go see last season. So I'm hoping this season I'm able to get out there and go. I really wanted to see Hamilton. Hamilton was one I really wanted to go see. Wasn't able to make it, but this season
you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna be out there. Don't know which show yet, but I'm gonna be out there.
We're going to the theater.
That's right.
All right, speaking of which, you know, theatrical and all, did you see the skies the last couple of nights? Beautiful sunrises, sunsets, all that kind of jazz.
Although we aren't getting as much sunlight, of course, throughout the days, but hey, it's still pretty nice, and temperatures are in the upper 70s and lower 80s as we speak. Pretty comfortable here, 79 in Greensboro and in Reedsville, and Dew Point's not so uncomfortable. Also in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Hey, can't complain. Little bit humid, but not nearly as bad as what we've seen the past couple of weeks. 56 in Greensboro. Next 12 hours, we're going to be getting to fall back into the 60s, eventually into the crisp 50s. I would grab the sweater in the morning. Not going to need it so much in the afternoon. It's going to be one of those days where you're going to want to crank up the heat in the morning, because in the afternoon, the AC is going to be on full blast. Back in the upper 70s, mostly sunny conditions. Sunrise just after 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, as we head into your weekend, perhaps you are making those plans now. Crisp morning for your Saturday. Plenty of sunshine, and if you have to pick a day to be outdoors of these two, I would go with Saturday. Going to be seeing scattered showers and storm chances begin to ramp up into Sunday throughout the early afternoon, continuing throughout the evening. Also going to be a little bit more humid. Also keeping an eye on Hurricane Lee as it continues to push northward here. I'll have more updates on that, and of course on your 7-day that's coming up in just a couple minutes.
Let's take a look at your 4 to 5 roundup. The newly approved fall COVID shots, they're now available in the Triad. You can schedule your appointment today through CVS or Walgreens. One important thing to remember is that if you do not have health insurance, you will have to pay for the shot. Here's the workaround with that. Most county health departments will be giving out the updated shots for free. Right now, we know that Forsyth County has ordered the vaccines.
North Carolina leaders are celebrating business growth in Guilford County. Tomorrow, several state leaders, including Mayor Nancy Vaughn and U.S. Senator Ted Budd, are expected to attend a groundbreaking for Marshall Aerospace at PTI Airport. The facility is set to open in 2025, creating more than 200 new jobs in the Triad. Once it's up and running, the Marshall Aerospace will handle repairs and engineering for their military aircrafts.
The Vice President is making a stop in Greensboro. Tomorrow, VP Kamala Harris is scheduled to speak at North Carolina A&T for her Fight for Our Freedoms college tour. Michael Regan, the acting administrator for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, plans to join her for the discussion. He is an A&T alum.
And you may run into some extra traffic this weekend. NCDOT is planning to close a section of I-40 East. If the weather holds up, all lanes of the highway will be closed from exit 212A to exit 227 tomorrow night, starting at 9. In this area, I-40 East will only be open to local traffic between exit 213 and 218A. This is all for a resurfacing project. All lanes are expected to reopen Monday morning at 6.
We could be on the verge of a historic strike by tens of thousands of auto workers. Without a deal, UAW members plan to walk off the job at midnight. The union wants more of the profits that help workers create for the so-called Big Three. That's Ford, GM, and Stellantis, the parent company of Chrysler and Jeep. A strike could cost the U.S. economy billions of dollars. All of this happening during the high-profile Detroit Auto Show.
It may look as business as usual here at the Detroit Auto Show, but this is a countdown to a possible strike against the nation's big three automakers. 11:59 Eastern Time is when the contract with United Auto Workers Union expires. If there's not a deal, we will see auto workers walk off the job. It won't be at every plant. It will be at certain targeted plants, the union says. They are hoping that that generates leverage to get a better deal out of automakers. Now, the automakers say they have been making generous offers, and it's the union that's not providing enough feedback to get across the finish line. Negotiations, conversations, we understand, are still ongoing as the effort to come to a deal before midnight continues at each of the big three, Ford, GM, and Stellantis. Open question, though, if a strike can be avoided at this point. Even a short strike, something on the order of 10 days against all three automakers, could cost the economy $5.6 billion, nearly $1 billion of that in the form of lost wages by the auto workers themselves.
When you say the word donut, I think this is what most of us think of, especially here in North Carolina, right? The hot and the now glazed donut with the hole in the middle. But today, I say move aside, holy donuts, and give me the puffy filled donuts with cream or custard or lemon or jelly. Of course, it's National Filled Donut Day.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
so it's just really just a good excuse to have this donut debate.
I'm on the fence.
You are.
I'm on the fence.
Okay.
I just think that's too much. I've had a filled donut before and it had jelly in it. And I was just like, either it's going to be the donut or just nothing at all for me personally. Just a lot of sweets.
Yeah, you know, I've done the cream, the jelly, everything. And I just am, I'm like you, I think I'm set on the donut hole.
The regular donut with the hole, the ring donut.
Nice glaze, you know, hot and ready.
Hot and ready.
Yes, yeah.
So I asked folks on Facebook, you know, what is the best kind of filled donut if you choose a filled donut? And I gave them 4 choices. So custard, cream, lemon, and jelly. And of course, that doesn't mean that they had to stick with that. But here goes. So let's say Faye, she said, not custard, just the white cream filled. Now I want one.
Me too.
Me too, Faye.
Susan wrote lemon, 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 and then she added all of the emojis. Mike said powdered blueberry filled, which I've never seen.
No.
Debbie added custard is my favorite, raspberry is my husband's favorite, and Pam said hello, all of them.
What about like Nutella?
Ooh, a Nutella filled one. I've never seen that.
Did I just make
I think you
something?
did.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Yeah, that sounds so good.
I don't know about that lemon one though. I
don't know.
Never seen that before.
So that is our web content producer's favorite. Lemon filled.
Have you had lemon filled?
I have had lemon filled. I like the lemon curd. I think it's good. It's got that little tang to it, right? So now here's the question. Why are donuts called donuts?
I do not know.
Do not know. Did you see what she did there, friends? I like it. All right, let's fill in the holes of the donut story. See what I did there?
I like that too.
We're going to have a whole bunch of bad jokes here. So here we go with the timeline. According to nationaltoday.com, what would become a donut started in the 1600s when Dutch colonists introduced what they called oily cakes. And I mean, you used to oil to make them, so it was different than a regular cake back in the day. Then in 1847, a woman named Elizabeth Gregory put hazelnuts or walnuts in the middle of the dough. And so she called them dough nuts. Get it? Dough and the nuts, literally. She punched a hole in the cakes so that they would cook more evenly on the inside and the outside. By the 1800s, the filling starts to come into donuts and other pastries as well. And now we have a donut hole, right? Donut holes, the munchkins or whatever.
Those are my favorite.
Okay, so back in the day, they called the munchkins, and they were like new on the scene in 1973. Now everybody's got a donut hole.
Oh yeah.
Now I want a donut. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
And what kind of donut would it be?
A regular, just glazed donut. That's it.
See, I like chocolate glaze, but I wish they were made them fresh.
I'll do strawberry. I'll do a strawberry one. No.
Too sweet. And I like the cake, the chocolate cake donut, like the devil's food cake that's glazed.
Do you guys like sprinkles too?
I could take them or leave them.
I don't know about the walnuts and whatnot. Like, you know.
Well, you know, that was back in the day.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
they didn't have sprinkles then.
So that was
or really good melty chocolate. Or air fryers, or you know, the good grease to make all of the donuts and stuff like that.
Yeah, really delicious. Wow.
Well, that's the whole story. See what I did there?
I see now. I almost missed it. You just say
I know. We're just going to go to break and just put us all out of this misery right now. Yes.
Well, fall is slowly making an appearance from the leaves starting to change colors. I mean, we've been talking about pumpkin spice stuff as well, too. And then Claire also talked about the weather, because
which is fantastic.
It's starting to feel really, really good.
Yep.
And with just over 6 weeks to go before Halloween, some kids in Europe are getting into the spirit.
Yeah, so Ian Lee is going to show us how they're getting some spooky lessons in becoming a vampire.
These kids are in the midst of becoming vampire apprentices, but they're not out for blood, just some first-hand knowledge. At Forstünstein Castle in Austria, children learn fact from fiction about the original vampire, Vlad Tepes. You may know him as Dracula. This 10-year-old explains he was a count from Romania and he killed his enemies, but he wasn't a vampire because he didn't have fangs. The event, called Draculade, has kids cloaked in capes and armed with flashlights as they explore the creepy castle, all while Vlad looks down from this 17th century painting. Visitor Andrea Stupit says, I want to educate my children so that they experience history in a lively way, and I think it's great to learn the story of Dracula in such a mystical castle. The man behind the myth lived in this castle in Romania in the 15th century and had a reputation as a cruel ruler. To punish the invading Ottomans, he impaled captured soldiers and left them on the side of the road to his capital, says this historian. With that kind of fame, it's probably best kids scurry after the fictional character instead.
All right, so I was a little worried when we first introduced that story
about
what was about to happen, but I love the whole weird history of it, right?
And they dress all up and go and look at the inside of the castle. Right. When the shot of the castle up on top of that hill like that and the dark clouds, I was like, whoa,
yeah,
right?
I felt it, yeah.
Kids are just so, they like stuff like this, exploring and things of that nature. I don't know if I would visit something like that though. I'll watch movies and stuff on it, but
I think I would.
So my friend is fun like that, like twisty like that, and she's like, ooh, let's take a graveyard tour when we were in Scotland at midnight. And I was like, we are not doing
midnight.
I don't know.
You are going to have to find another friend to do that.
I don't know about a graveyard tour. That's a bit much even for me. And I like horror movies.
I do like horror movies as well too.
You know?
I do anything like that. But in terms of in person, like haunted houses as well too. I just can't. And my dad does not understand it. He's like, you can watch scary movies, but you can't go to a haunted house.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
yeah. Because it's like I'm actually there. You
know,
I
went to one.
Sometimes they touch you.
They chased me.
Yeah, no.
I was never going back.
No.
And since we're talking Halloween, there's a new murder mystery movie out. I like murder mystery movies for the trick-or-treat season. So today we are checking out A Haunting in Venice. WFMY News 2's Manning Frank has your News 2 movie review.
When things go bump in the night, when there are more questions than answers, when there is murder afoot, there is only one person to call. Detective Hercule Poirot is on the case once again. And in this third outing, Kenneth Branagh returns both behind and in front of the screen as the legendary character from Agatha Christie. And honestly, it might be the best yet.
I've seen a million of these so-called psychics, each one a fake.
I do not believe in psychics.
Come with me to a seance. Spot the con I can't.
Detective, you are here to discredit me.
In this adaptation of Agatha Christie's Halloween Party, A Haunting in Venice sees Kenneth Branagh return as the illustrious detective Hercule Poirot. Set in Venice, Poirot is retired from his sleuthing days until an old friend brings him back to debunk a medium. Yet Poirot can't seem to escape murder as one of the seance participants is found dead. Now the detective must uncover the murderer before the haunted house gets them all. It's hard to argue against a good murder mystery, and even though the most recent Poirot adaptations have been hit or miss, Branagh shines in this one that is the most bone-chilling and thrilling one to date. Unlike A Haunting in Venice's predecessors, this Christie adaptation has a distinct vision that plays between the lines of psychological thriller and classic whodunit. While the series is not required to visually distinguish itself every time, the stunning camera work, creepy sound design, and wonderful sets make the haunted house in Venice almost a character itself. A Haunting in Venice is gripping not just for its technical merits, but also for its deeper themes of spirituality that, with no pun intended, hover over the entire film. This claustrophobic nature of this whodunit allows us to get more connected to the psyche of Poirot, resulting in Kenneth Branagh's best performance as the detective. Third time truly is a charm. In addition, the supporting cast all gave their A-game with a script that has some surprisingly light moments mixed in with the dark. In the long line of this adapted series, I liked Murder on the Orient Express, I strongly disliked Death on the Nile, which I reviewed last year, and I loved A Haunting in Venice. To be real, roller coaster of quality aside, I would not be mad if Kenneth Branagh kept making these Agatha Christie adaptations until the end of time. I'm giving A Haunting in Venice an early Halloween 2 approved. You can watch it only in theaters.
I got chills a little bit.
Really?
I do too, yeah.
I like murder mystery movies. I do. You just brought up the Knives Out movie that
Yes.
came on Netflix. I think I would check this out. I think I would.
I think we could make this like a little girls thing. Get some popcorn, do like a whole thing.
If you don't mind, because I get scared really easy, I might be like,
Oh, I thought you were going to say just be in the middle. I was like, we could put
I might be in the middle too, and I might scream.
It didn't seem
And
like
I
a
might
lot
hide
of
my
jump
face.
scares, though, to me personally.
I get scared really easy.
See, I do
the
too.
darkness.
I do too. Even though I like
You
horror
might
movies,
be
I get scared
embarrassed by
easy.
us. Get ready.
Well, you got some cool weather to talk about.
Yeah, we're getting towards spooky season, I would say, slowly but surely. Here is a look at your 7-day forecast next couple of days. Overnight lows even sitting in the 50s and 60s, upper 70s and lower 80s continuing as we head into the weekend. Lots and lots of sunshine for the weekend. If you're going to pick a day to be outdoors, pick Saturday. Isolated showers and storms are possible Sunday with more sunshine as we head into next week.
Hello, here we are. We're talking about the weather. And
Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New
Hi there, 1, 2, 3. My name is Julie Luck, and I am addicted to cough syrup. 1, 2, 3.
Giving you a mic check, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Mic check, mic check, mic check. Julie better not be taking this phenylephrine because it doesn't work. So
My name is Hannah Jeffries, and I am not addicted to cough syrup.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, mic check, blah, blah.
I told you last week that I'm approaching my 10-year anniversary here at News 2. Hard to believe it's this Saturday. It got me thinking about the things I've covered over the past decade and what would be on the highlight reel of my time here. Among the big news stories that stick out to me, covering natural disasters, and there have been quite a few of them. One of the wildest moments was during Hurricane Matthew in 2016 when the storm's eye passed right over us at Oak Island. In the middle of catastrophe, everything got quiet for about 15 minutes. Then there was the Greensboro tornado in 2018. The destruction was immense, but so was the community effort to support neighbors. Sports and entertainment trips have also been memorable to me. The Panthers making it to the Super Bowl in 2016, and Duke winning the national championship in 2015. I can't forget the Tony Awards last June, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Then there was the nationwide spectacle of the solar eclipse in 2017, when I was nearly speechless on live television for the first time. Among the somber moments, the Reverend Billy Graham's death and his funeral outside his library in Charlotte. One of my proudest moments came in 2019 and again in 2021 when I was named Best News Anchor in North Carolina. I've also been nominated for 3 Emmys during my time here. Someday I might actually win one. But I think the top highlight for me has been the Silver Bells Tour and the money we've collected over the years for the Salvation Army. We took a hiatus during the pandemic, but I am so happy to say it's coming back this year. So many things have made the highlight reel, a decade's worth of work representing the good and the tough times we faced. We'll see what comes next. That's just my 2 cents. And your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now. New at 5, the man accused of bringing a gun to UNC yesterday went before a judge today.
Investigators say 27-year-old Michael Harris pulled the gun on an employee at an on-campus bagel shop yesterday. This was the second time the school went on lockdown this semester. Harris appeared in an Orange County